Okay, so first of all, we explored perception for a while. There is a gulf between perception and reality. Certainly I spend a lot of time myself talking to young people, and the gulf between what is IT and what they think a career in IT might be is massive. And I think there's a challenge there for industry to articulate that. But also, one of the things I find, talking to careers advisors in schools a lot, is they will come back with the, oh, but you need A-level maths to work in computing, don't you? No, you don't need A-level maths. Don't you? I thought you did. And the big thing that I hear from employers so much is soft skills, teamwork, communication skills, all those things that maybe aren't quite as sexy as the techie stuff, but they're so important. In terms of schools, I work a lot with schools myself. We have Devonport High School for Boys on our table as well. There's a real opportunity at the moment, what with the new computing curriculum coming on stream, because one of the big issues I used to see was I talked to primary age kids who just want to tell you about gaming and the technology they use and all those sorts of things, and then they go through the secondary system, they have any enthusiasm for it beaten out of them by a terribly dull, boring ICT curriculum. Now, the new computing curriculum is a fantastic opportunity, but there's a real big challenge there as well. How are you going to engage the teachers in becoming the ambassadors for this sort of thing? Particularly, you've got someone with coding skills, well, you can become a teacher, or you can maybe move to the southeast and earn a fortune, or start your own startup or something. That's going to be a really big challenge, I think, in terms of supporting teachers. I think universities have got a role to play with that. I know Shirley's already keying up, working with some of our local schools on this sort of thing, but particularly in areas like the southeast, how on earth are you going to convince someone to take a 25% of their salary from maybe industry if they have got the skills that we're crying out for in schools now? I think one of the other challenges as well is looking at more commercial engagement in schools. And I think the challenge there is that why is that important to schools? Increasingly, schools are judged on their league tables and their exam performance and very little else. So why would a senior manager like to, facilitate or support a teacher that's decided they want to engage more closely with industry? Moving on to apprenticeships, we think apprenticeships are a great idea. We think there's a few challenges around apprenticeships. So the first one being there's so few of them. I mean, Ben actually sat there and said, I'd love to do an apprenticeship if I could do an apprenticeship, but where are they? The challenge for SMEs is, are you going to say, can you fund this thing for the next 3 or 4 years where it's likely that the person at the end of it will leave? Where's the commercial incentive for an SME to do that? And I know there's various initiatives around SMEs coming together to fund a specific apprenticeship. But again, can you give us some money for this, and your competitor's also going to give us some money for that, and then at the end of it, this guy's going to decide where they want to go or something. The other thing is there's a certain elitism around this as well. The perception that IT is a graduate level profession and that apprenticeships sounds a bit tradey, doesn't it, really? Doing an apprenticeship doesn't sound as good as being a graduate, does it? So maybe apprenticeships isn't the right word. Maybe it's about professional development, those sorts of things. I'll talk about universities for a bit. This is my big bugbear myself, is that I certainly wouldn't include my academic colleagues in the room in this, but academia is virtually entirely focused on which papers you write. And until universities have incentives for their staff to engage with companies, I mean, we're all anomalies, really. We do a lot of engagement with industry and things, but I'm probably the privileged one who's actually sort of got to professor on the result of that. I'm sure you guys aren't being told you need to do more engagement with industry to get to professor. It's how many papers you write. And it's an entirely closed system. Until there's policy levers that say, all right, impact is about how valued your work is to industry and how valued your work is to society, not just how valued it is to the academic community. I think there's going to be real challenges there. And also, from a business perspective, universities need to be far more open. I said to the guys from industry here, so you want to speak to someone at the university about relational database management systems. Who do you talk to? And they went, got no idea. How on earth am I going to possibly know that? But I think one of the real big opportunities with universities, if they can start to change their priorities, is work placements. We, within Plymouth University, have a rich history of doing work placements. Every single one of my final year students who's done a work placement, when they reflect on their time in university, say it's the best thing they've done. And I know from interviewing many graduates myself, those that have done placements will always get jobs. Those who haven't done placements won't. So even though they might see it as something where it's an extra year at university, it's not. It's actually starting your career a year earlier. But I don't see universities prioritising that above how many papers do we write. If you look at key research areas in computer science, formal methods, artificial intelligence, those sorts of things, I'm not seeing massive demand from that from the industry people in the room. There you go, I'm on time.